Let's be honest. No one likes to think they might be cheated on, but sometimes the signs are right in front of us and we just don't want to see them. I've already been through this. I thought I was in a solid relationship, but I started to notice small changes. Less texts, less affection, more apologies. At first I tried to ignore it, thinking it was all in my head. But the truth, my instinct was right. If you feel like something is off in your relationship, maybe it's time to face reality. Here are 10 signs that your partner might be cheating on you and hiding it from you. 1. They are obsessed with their appearance. We like to take care of ourselves. It's part of life. Everyone likes to feel good, to invest in their own image, to look for the best version of themselves. But when someone who never gave much importance to it suddenly changes from night to day, it is impossible not to ask yourself why. I've seen this pattern so many times I could write a manual on it. A partner who never cared about going to the gym suddenly starts training religiously every day. That person who always wore the same clothes without much concern is now investing in new pieces, choosing more sophisticated perfumes, and changing their haircut regularly. Here comes the justification. It's just for myself. I want to feel good. I'm focused on improving my self-esteem. And of course, it could be true, but what if is this change not for you? The reality is that when someone is interested in someone else, effort in appearance skyrockets. This is because we want to impress those who attract us. It is part of our human nature. I remember a friend who for years didn't care much about clothes. Any shirt, worn-out jeans, and the same haircut for centuries. But one day he started to dress better, wear perfume every day, and even go to the gym. I thought it was cool. He finally decided to take care of himself, I thought, until the surprise came. He was seeing someone else. Don't get me wrong, taking care of yourself is great. The problem is when this change happens drastically and suddenly, without any apparent explanation. And more, the sudden vanity is accompanied by a pattern of suspicious behavior. If your partner has started getting too dressed up before leaving without saying exactly where you're going, obsessing with selfies and posting photos showing your body or new look, buying clothes that would never suit his style before. So maybe this change is not just for him, her, the detail that no one notices. Often the change in appearance comes before of any other obvious sign of betrayal. It's one of the first signs that something has changed. And you know what's worse? Some people use this as an excuse to push you away. Now I'm focused on my body, on my self-esteem, and you don't understand. Are you jealous just because I want to take care of myself? Suddenly distrust becomes your fault. You are the insecure one while the person is just prioritizing themselves. Remember, taking care of your appearance is great, but when this comes with secrets, distancing, and inexplicable changes, it may be a sign that this transformation is not just for you. 2. They lost interest in sex. In the beginning, it was different. The desire, the connection, the desire to be close, everything seemed natural. But now, things have changed. Your partner avoids any type of intimacy, always has an excuse, and when it happens, it seems forced, without emotion. What happened? Did the routine cool the relationship? Is the stress weighing you down? Or is there something more? Here's the hard truth. When someone stops wanting sex in a relationship, there is always a reason. And if this change was sudden and unexplained, it could be a big sign that something is wrong. What's going on here? There are many legitimate reasons why a person may lose interest in sex. Stress at work, emotional problems or personal insecurities, hormonal or health issues. But when there is no apparent explanation, this is where the concern begins, and here's the detail that no one likes to face. If your partner is not interested in sex with you, it may be because they are interested in someone else. When someone is emotionally or physically involved with another person, the need for intimacy in the original relationship can drastically decrease. The desire to keep a secret can make your partner avoid moments of closeness, for fear of guilt or being discovered. And the cruelest part, some people, they will blame you for the problem. You've been really needy lately. Is that all you think about? Wow, what an exaggeration. It's not just sex that matters. Suddenly you feel wrong for questioning something it was always normal in the relationship. I remember an acquaintance who started to notice this in their relationship. At first, he thought his girlfriend was just tired or stressed, but time passed and nothing changed. When I tried to talk about it, she would get irritated, deflect, or make excuses. The once natural touch became uncomfortable. The spontaneous affection disappeared. The kiss lost its intensity, and then came the shock. He discovered messages from her with someone else. As he tried to understand what was happening, she was already emotionally and physically involved with someone new. That's the point. The change in desire usually comes before the discovery of the betrayal. How do you know if this is a sign of cheating? If sexual interest has decreased, don't panic right away, but pay attention to other signs. Is the coldness present in other areas? Has the affection and attention also disappeared? Are the excuses constant? Does it always seem like there's a reason to avoid intimacy? Does the separation happen out of the blue? Is there no clear explanation for the change? Do they get angry when you try to talk about it? If the answer is yes to several of these questions, there may be something more behind the lack of interest. Remember, lack of sexual interest doesn't always mean cheating, but when this happens for no apparent reason and is accompanied by other signs, is a warning that should not be ignored. 3. They are more affectionate than usual. Being more affectionate should be a good thing, right? After all, who doesn't like receiving more attention, more affection, more declarations of love? But what about when this excess of affection seems forced, almost as if it were guilt? If your partner has always been balanced in the way he shows love and out of nowhere becomes exaggeratedly romantic, it could be a sign of cheating in disguise. And here's the thing. People cheat, but they don't always want to lose the relationship. So to compensate for the guilt, they try to act like the best partner in the world, using affection as a shield to hide what is really happening. Many people imagine that a cheater becomes cold and distant, but sometimes the opposite happens. She becomes more affectionate than ever. This happens for a few reasons. Blame. The person feels bad about what they did and tries to make up for it with gifts, praise, and attention. Fear of being discovered. She thinks that by acting perfect, you will never suspect anything. Temptation to keep both worlds. Wants to stay in the relationship while having an affair, so he invests more in the main relationship to avoid suspicion. I've seen this pattern play out more times than I can count. A friend began to notice that his girlfriend, who used to be just as affectionate, out of nowhere he became the most passionate person in the world. She sent him cute messages all the time, showered him with compliments, and even wanted to give him a gift for no apparent reason. At first he thought it was just a new phase in the relationship, but reality came like a punch. She had been cheating on him for months. Affection was not love, it was guilt. How do you know if this affection is genuine or suspicious? Not every increase in affection means betrayal. But keep an eye out for these signs. Does the affection seem exaggerated or out of the ordinary? If the person has never been one for compliments and gifts and suddenly acts like they're on their honeymoon every day, it could be a sign that something isn't right. Are the displays of affection spontaneous, or do they seem rehearsed? If it seems more like a script than something natural, it could indicate that the person is trying to distract you. Does affection appear right after strange behavior? For example, the person disappears for a few hours without explanation, and when they come back, they are showering you with affection and cute messages. Is affection accompanied by guilt? If the person starts saying phrases like, "I don't know what I would do without you," or "You are everything to me, I would never hurt you," it could be a sign that she's trying to convince you of something, maybe even herself. Remember, genuine affection is accompanied by transparency. But if the person seems to be buying you with affection, maybe it's not love, but rather a cover-up for something you haven't yet discovered. 4. They always talk bad about the same person. Have you ever noticed that your partner keeps saying bad things about someone specific? It could be a coworker, a friend, an acquaintance, but always the same person. Wow, that person is unbearable. So-and-so is very irritating, I can't stand him, her. God, have you ever seen how that person dresses? At first it may seem like just a normal pet peeve, but what if in fact is this obsession with criticizing hiding a secret? What few people realize is that often Those who cheat try to disguise their involvement with another person by attacking them verbally. It's a psychological tactic called attention diversion, where the traitor tries to remove any suspicion about a case, making it appear that I would never have anything to do with that person I hate so much. Why would someone speak ill of their own lover or lover? The answer is simple. He wants to draw attention away from any suspicions. The more a person reinforces that they can't stand someone, the less likely it seems that there is an involvement between the two. Try to hide your romantic interest. If your partner is attracted to someone, talking badly can be an unconscious way of dealing with this attraction without exposing yourself. Prevents you from noticing the signs. If they say so much bad things about the person, you can automatically dismiss any idea of cheating on them, even if the signs are there. I've seen this happen countless times. An acquaintance began to notice that his girlfriend was constantly criticizing a coworker. She said he was irritating, that he talked too much, that he was a show-off. He always found a reason to mention it, but always in a negative way. Time passed, and one day he discovered she was having an affair with this exact guy. The hate wasn't real. It was a shield. How do you know if this is a sign of cheating? Not all dislike is suspicious, but some signs may indicate that there is something more. Does the person your partner criticizes always come up in conversations? Even without need, does this name come up every now and then? Does the tone of the criticism seem forced? Does it sound exaggerated or overly dramatic? Have you ever caught your partner looking at this person differently? It could be a long look, an untimely smile, or even nervousness when talking about her. Has she ever had a strange reaction when you joked about a possible attraction between them? For example, saying something like, "You guys fight so much you look like a couple," and the person reacts in an exaggerated or uncomfortable way. If your partner is always talking bad about the same person, but maintains constant contact with them, stay tuned. Remember, when someone talks too much about a person, whether good or bad, there is always a reason. And if that person who bothers you so much is always present in your partner's conversations, maybe it's because she is also present in her life in a way you didn't imagine. 5. They fight with you over anything. At first, everything seemed peaceful. Arguments were normal, they happened from time to time, but they were resolved maturely. But now, it seems like everything you do irritates your partner. Did you forget to reply to a message quickly enough? Argument. Did you ask where she was? Argument. Did you ask an innocent question about their day? Argument. Did you try to plan something for the weekend? Argument. And the worst, the arguments, they don't make sense. Suddenly your partner becomes aggressive, impatient, or irritated over the smallest things, as if he were testing you, as if he wanted to create a reason to walk away. Here's the truth. Many people, when they are cheating, begin to see their official partner as an obstacle. They create fights to justify the guilt they feel, or even to force a breakup without having to admit what they are doing. This behavior can happen for several reasons. Projected guilt. When someone cheats, they may feel remorse, but instead of dealing with it, they start to discount from partner, making the relationship a toxic environment, creating a pretext for removal. People need reasons to spend more time away, and fighting is a way to justify this. Comparison with lover. If the person is involved with someone new, they may start to see you differently, as if you were the problem. Preparing for the breakup. Some people cheat because they already want to leave the relationship, but they don't have the courage to finish. Then they start to create constant fights until you be the first to give up. I've seen this happen many times. A friend began to notice that his girlfriend fought over everything, small, meaningless things, like the way he spoke or what he wore. He tried to solve it, asked what was happening, but the answers were always vague, until one day she broke up with him saying, "I think we fight too much, it's not working." Shortly afterwards, he discovered that she was already with someone else. The fights were not natural, they were the path to the end. Not every argument means infidelity, but be aware if the fight started suddenly and for no apparent reason. Before you understood each other well, now everything becomes a conflict. The tone of the discussions changed. Before they were common couple fights. Now they are more aggressive, impatient, or senseless. Your partner does not try to solve the problems. She seems more interested in maintaining the conflict than in finding a solution. Fights always end with separation. Your partner uses the argument as an excuse to leave the house, isolate themselves, or spend more time on their cell phone. After the fight, she disappears. You argue she leaves without explaining and only comes back hours later or the next day. If all this is happening, it could be that the fights aren't just about you, but about someone else in your partner's life. Remember, when someone wants to be with you, they seek to resolve conflicts, not create new ones. If your partner is fighting about something, it could be because you already have one foot out of the relationship. 6. They have low self-esteem and need constant validation. Everyone likes to feel valued. It's natural to want a compliment from time to time, to receive recognition for your efforts, or simply to know that someone thinks you're special. But what happens when this becomes an insatiable need? When your partner never seems satisfied with the compliments and attention you give, and are you always seeking approval from other people? If this sounds familiar, could be a warning sign. People with low self-esteem often seek external validation, and this can make them more vulnerable to betrayal. When someone has weakened self-esteem, they may develop a constant need to feel that they are wanted. This happens because they don't feel enough. Even receiving love and affection within the relationship, it seems like it's never enough. They need constant approval. A compliment from you may last for a moment, but the internal emptiness makes them seek validation from other people all the time. They like the feeling of achievement. For some people, knowing that they can still attract and seduce others is a boost to their self-esteem. They are afraid of rejection. The idea of having options or always having someone interested in them makes them feel more emotionally secure. This means that, does every person with low self-esteem cheat? Of course. But it does mean that if your partner is always seeking attention outside of the relationship, they may be more likely to cross that line. When the hole never gets filled, I remember an acquaintance who had been in a relationship for years. His girlfriend was always insecure and needed daily compliments to feel good. He did everything. He told her how much he loved her. He constantly praised her. He gave her surprises to show how special she was. But nothing seemed enough. She spent hours on Instagram, posting selfies and waiting for likes and comments. She was excited when she received messages from strangers praising her beauty. I always wanted to be the center of attention when they went out in groups. He didn't see the signs until one day he discovered messages from her flirting with someone else. When he confronted her, she said, "I just wanted to feel wanted," and that's the point. When someone needs constantly external validation, often doesn't realize when he crosses the line between seeking attention and cheating. How do you know if this is a sign of cheating? Not every insecure person will cheat, but be careful if your partner seeks validation all the time. She seems to need praise and attention all the time, even when he or she already receives it from you. Interest in other people's opinions is greater than yours. If you seem more concerned with the approval of strangers than with what you think, that could be a warning sign. She seeks subtle flirtations all the time. It can be through social networks, innocent conversations with colleagues, or gestures that attract the attention of others. The cell phone has become a means of constant validation. If your partner is always checking notifications, interacting with other people excessively, or deleting conversations, it could be a sign that there's something more going on. If your partner constantly needs external validation, it could be a sign that she is emotionally open to looking for that in someone else. Remember, you can't fill a void that only your partner can solve. If her need for validation has become greater than respect for the relationship, maybe she is already emotionally available to someone new. 7. They are extremely defensive with their cell phones. Nowadays, the cell phone is practically an extension of our body. We store messages, social networks, photos, conversations, and even secrets in it. Having privacy is normal. But what about when this privacy turns into well-kept secrets? If your partner suddenly starts acting like their cell phone is a top-secret information vault, something may be wrong. Here's the truth. When someone has something to hide, the first thing they do is protect your cell phone at any cost. What's going on here? It's common to want some privacy, but when it becomes too much, it can be a sign of betrayal. People who are hiding something on their cell phone tend to getting nervous when you pick up the device by mistake. If it was normal before and now it has become a problem, this could indicate that there is something suspicious there. Turn the cell phone screen down all the time. This is a classic tactic to prevent suspicious notifications from appearing in front of you. Take your cell phone everywhere, even to the bathroom. Suddenly, their cell phone can't stay away from them even for a second. Changing passwords frequently or not letting you see anything. Your partner may claim that it's just a matter of privacy. But if this has never been an issue before, what changed? Becoming nervous or irritated when you mention the topic. If you ask an innocent question like, "Who was texting you?" and receives a defensive or aggressive response, this is a warning. Often, the problem is not the cell phone itself, but the person's behavior towards it. When your cell phone becomes a shield, I remember a friend who started to notice changes in her boyfriend. Before, he left his cell phone anywhere, but suddenly he started taking the device even to the shower, locking the screen quickly whenever. She got close and getting irritated when she joked, "Wow, what are you hiding in that cell phone?" He responded defensively, "Ah, so now you want to invade my privacy?" Time passed and she discovered that he had someone else. The messages were there, safely stored on the cell phone that he protected like a state secret. That's the point. When someone feels like they need to hide something, their cell phone becomes one of the first places where secrets are kept. How do you know if this is a sign of cheating? Not everyone who protects their cell phone is cheating. But if these attitudes appeared suddenly, stay tuned. Does your partner always feel uncomfortable when you are near their cell phone? If this wasn't a problem before and now it's become a source of stress, there may be something wrong. Is your cell phone never far away from you? If the person carried the phone everywhere before, that's fine. But if this behavior changed drastically, something might be happening. Does he/she block notifications on the screen? This could be a sign that they don't want you to see messages arriving in real time. Does he/she get irritated when you mention your cell phone? If asking something simple generates an exaggerated reaction, it may be because the truth bothers. If your partner is overprotecting the cell phone for no clear reason, could be a sign. Remember, privacy is one thing, secrets are another. If your partner is treating their cell phone like a black box, maybe it's because he/she doesn't want you to see what's inside. 8. They receive messages at strange times. Imagine the scene. You're relaxing together, watching a movie or lying in bed, and suddenly, a message arrives on your partner's cell phone. You wouldn't even care about this if it weren't for this detail. It's late at night or a completely unusual time. You ask innocently, "Who texted you at this time?" And instead of a calm response, your partner quickly locks the screen, looks away, and says something vague like, nothing, work stuff." But is that really it? Here's the truth. Messages received at odd hours can be one of the first signs that your partner is talking to someone they don't want you to know. What's going on here? Not every untimely message means betrayal. But when someone receives constant and suspicious notifications in the middle of the night, during private moments, or when you are away from your phone, you may be hiding something. See some common patterns. Of those who are having secret conversations, he turns off or puts his cell phone on silent when he is with you. This prevents notifications from popping up or unexpected calls from blowing your cover. The phone is always facing down. This way, you don't see who is sending messages. It acts differently when the cell phone vibrates. If before he/she picked up the phone in front of you without any problems, but now appears uncomfortable or moves away to read the message, something might be happening. Excuses are always vague or repetitive. If every late-night message is work, someone's mistake and/or spam, but your partner is visibly nervous, it could be a warning sign. The cell phone always disappears at bedtime. If before he left the phone on the bedside table, but now he makes a point of taking it to the bathroom or hiding it under the pillow, something is wrong. Oftentimes, people who cheat stay in touch with their lovers at times when they believe the official partner will not see. And that's exactly what makes messages received late at night a huge warning. When your cell phone becomes a warning sign, an acquaintance began to notice that his girlfriend always received messages after midnight. He wasn't controlling, so he never cared about it. But what started to bother me was the way she acted. She would smile into the phone but never say who it was. If he got close, she quickly blocked the screen. She started sleeping with her cell phone on silent. He thought it was strange but tried to ignore it. Until one day, he saw a message appear on the screen when she forgot to turn the phone face down. It was from a number with no saved name. "I wish I was there with you right now." That's how he discovered that it wasn't just harmless messages. It was a hidden affair. This is the problem. When someone has something to hide, the signs are always there. Just pay attention. How do you know if these messages are a sign of betrayal? Not every strange message means something is wrong, but be aware if your partner never mentions who is texting. She simply ignores the subject or gives vague answers. Your cell phone is always out of your reach during intimate moments. When you're together, your phone disappears or goes on airplane mode. Messages arrive at times that don't make sense. If it's a work thing, why does it always happen in the early hours of the morning or at specific times? She becomes visibly uncomfortable when the cell phone vibrates near you. If she has nothing to hide, why so much concern? If several of these situations are happening, it could be that your partner is having conversations that you shouldn't see. Remember, late-night messaging is not a problem in and of itself. What makes this a warning is their partner's behavior towards them. If there are secrets and discomfort, it may be because these messages are more than just harmless notifications. 9. They accuse you of cheating. You never gave cause for distrust. You never hid anything and you were always transparent in the relationship. But suddenly, your partner starts accusing you of cheating out of nowhere. Why does it take you so long to respond to my messages? Who is this person who liked your photo? I think it's weird that you go out with your friends like that. At first, it may just seem like silly jealousy, but over time it becomes constant and exaggerated. Your partner is obsessed with watching you, always suggesting that you are hiding something. But what if I told you that often who cheats projects their own mistakes onto others? Here's the truth. People who cheat often accuse their partner of cheating as a defense mechanism. This is called projection, a psychological trick where the person transfers their own blame to someone else. When someone is being unfaithful, there is a constant fear of being discovered. To deal with this paranoia, the traitor may accuse you first to prevent you from suspecting him, her. If you're busy defending yourself, you don't have time to notice strange signs in someone else's behavior. Alleviate your own guilt. If he accuses you, he can justify it to himself. If I'm cheating, maybe he is too. Test your limits. If they can convince you that you are the problem, they can manipulate the situation to make you feel guilty, even without having done anything. This creates a toxic cycle where you start to walk on tiptoe, trying to prove that they are faithful, while the other person uses this to hide their own actions. When the traitor plays the victim, I remember an acquaintance who began to notice strange behavior in his girlfriend. She was never jealous, but suddenly she started to tease everything. I questioned every like he received on social media. I always complained when he went out with his friends. It came to search his cell phone for no reason. He thought it was just insecurity, until a mutual friend revealed the truth. She was having an affair with someone else. At the end, the constant accusations were just a distraction to divert attention from the betrayal itself. That's the point. Often those who accuse without reason are trying to hide their own error. How do you know if these accusations are a sign of cheating? Not every jealousy crisis means that the person is cheating, but be careful if the accusations started suddenly for no apparent reason. Your partner has never demonstrated this type of behavior before, but now he sees betrayal in everything. She distorts normal situations. If you go out with friends or receive a message from someone, she immediately interprets it as something suspicious. The tone of the accusations is exaggerated. Jealousy is not just an occasional doubt, but something intense, as if she is already sure that you are hiding something. She uses this to control you. Suddenly, you need to justify everything you do, where you are and who you talk to, even though you've never given a reason to do so. The person has been unfaithful in the past or has a history of cheating. Anyone who has cheated before knows how it works and can project this guilt onto their partner. If several of these situations are happening, it could be a sign that your partner he's trying to hide his own mistake by accusing you. Remember, exaggerated distrust for no reason is not love. It is a reflection of what the other person may be doing. If your partner accuses you without proof, maybe it's because she knows exactly how cheating works, because she is practicing it. 10. Your gut is telling you something is wrong. Have you ever had that strange feeling, a tightness in your chest as if something was wrong, but you didn't know exactly what? Your partner didn't do anything obvious. There is no concrete proof, but something changed. The way she looks at you, the way he answers your questions, the small details that previously went unnoticed. Here's the truth. When something isn't right in the relationship, your instinct feels it before your mind processes it. And often, the body reacts before you consciously notice the problem. If you feel that something changed, that the connection is no longer the same, that there is an invisible barrier between you, don't ignore it. Your instinct may be trying to protect you from a truth that your mind doesn't yet want to accept. In relationships, intuition doesn't come out of nowhere. What we call the sixth sense is actually an unconscious reading of the small signs that indicate subtle changes in the other's behavior. If you feel like something is wrong, it may be because your brain is picking up patterns like changes in routine. Your partner is acting differently, arriving late without explanation, or making up unexpected commitments. Changes in communication. Conversations lost their naturalness. Before she would tell you about the day with enthusiasm, now the answers are vague and without details. Changes in physical contact. Affection seems forced or has become non-existent. Changes in gaze. You notice an emotional distance. The eyes no longer shine like they used to, or there is a nervousness when you try to look directly. These changes are subtle, but your instinct captures it before you even consciously realize it. A friend of mine has always been very calm in her relationship. She was never jealous, she never suspected anything. But one day, she started to feel something different. She couldn't explain exactly what it was, but there was something strange about the way her boyfriend acted. He still said the same things, but the words felt empty. She tried to ignore it, telling herself she was paranoid, but deep down, she knew. Until one day, he picked up his cell phone by chance and saw a notification. "I'll see you later, love. I can't wait." It was from another woman. It was at that moment that she realized his instinct already knew the truth all along. How do you know if your instinct is right? Your gut may be warning you if you feel like something is off. But you can't explain exactly what. Your partner has changed but says nothing is happening. You feel inexplicable anxiety when you are around him/her. Small details that didn't bother you before now catch your attention. Your body reacts before your mind does, heart racing, hands sweating, feeling alert. Our brain is trained to perceive subtle changes, even if we can't immediately rationalize it. If you feel like something is wrong, it probably is. Remember, your instinct is not paranoia. If something seems wrong, it probably is. Trust the signs and don't ignore what your heart is trying to tell you. At the end of the day, no one wants to believe they are being cheated on, but ignoring the signs doesn't make the problem go away. If you've recognized some of these behaviors in your relationship, it might be time to have a serious conversation. These signs don't always mean betrayal, but they indicate that something has changed. And here's the truth. You deserve a relationship based on respect, transparency, and trust. If your partner is hiding something, you have every right to seek answers.